good day, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be discussing and breaking down Mikel Arteta's 4-3-3 formation in the likes of EA FC 24. I'm going to try and help you replicate and recreate this formation in the game. So we'll start off with the formation. We've got Martinelli on the wing, we've got Jesus and Saka in the front line as well. We've got Odegaard, Rice and Havertz in the midfield. We've got Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White in the defence. And then because I think he is going to be the #1 goalkeeper going forward, I've gone with David Raya between the sticks. And then in the substitutes department, we've got Nketiah, Trossard, Partey, Jorginho, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, and then Kivior. And then in the reserves, we've got Nelson, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Cedric, and a few other players like Timber. It's a pity that he did get injured because I think he would have added such a nice layer to this Arsenal team in the defensive department. But you know what, hopefully next season he can kick on and be the good player that I believe and I know that he will be. So for the formation, I've gone with the basic 4-3-3 holding, but what I have done is I've changed the left back. I've brought him just more narrow to the defense, and what that does is because it's Zinchenko, you want him to invert, and like I said, what this does is it helps him invert a bit more and a bit better into the midfield area. For the tactics, Mikel Arteta's team like to press when they lose the ball, so you will see them try and be a bit more aggressive when out of possession, trying to force the opposition into mistakes of their own by that intense press that they do implement. As for the team width, it is set to 50. It's a nice wide spread out team, a very balanced team at times as well, and you want to try and fill those players in those specific areas to try and break down the opposition's offensive build-up play, whether it's from the back or in the midfield area. As for the depth, it's a nice high line set to 85. Of course, Arsenal try and press the opposition in their own half, try and keep them in their own half at times, making sure that they're under pressure more times than not. As for the offensive build-up play, it is set to a slow build-up, and in terms of the chance creation, it is set to possession. Like I say, Arsenal, they look to look after the ball. They want to try and keep the ball as much as possible, waiting patiently to try and attack the opposition in certain moments to try and score goals. As for the width, it is set to 60. It's a nice happy medium. Again, you want your midfield to be nice widespread, but your fullbacks will not be providing the width in those wider areas. It's going to be your wingers in certain moments, the likes of Saka and Martinelli or Trossard sometimes. They will be providing the width in the team. As for players in the box, it is set to 7. You want more or less 3 players, your 3 attackers in the box, making those attacking runs with the option of a further midfielder. More times than not, it will be the likes of Kai Havertz because he does have the aerial threat and the ability to score those headers. As for corners and free kicks, as per always, it is set to 4. So starting off with the instructions at the back, we've got the likes of David Raya between the sticks. He is set to come for crosses and be a super keeper. He is one of the best keepers in the Premier League with the ball at his feet, finding the passes, finding the acute angles, spraying the ball out wide into the attacking line. So he's very good at doing so. And then in terms of saving, or in terms of his crosses, he's going to come for crosses, trying to alleviate the stress and the pressure on the back line more times than not, claiming those aerial balls. And then moving on slightly higher up the field to Gabriel and Saliba, they are set to their base set of instructions. You don't really want to mess with it too much, as they will then be drawn out of position, and that leads to holes in your defense, leading to you conceding more goals. And then on the left-hand side, Zinchenko, a very nice role for him nonetheless. I've done my best to try and get him into that midfield department while still deploying him as a left back. But he is set to join the attack and invert as well as step up. Now, what these 3 options do is it allows him to get forward, it allows him to join up in the midfield because he's going to invert. And I do find that when you do have the step up option set to on for him, he does look to be a bit more aggressive and play a bit higher up the field and in that midfield area. In terms of Ben White, he's set to have a balanced attack in terms of his attacking run. So he will look to sometimes, just bomb on forward, help the likes of Saka, supply him with another body to potentially pass to. But more times than not, when Zinchenko does bomb on, he will look to more or less invert into that back 3 formation that we have seen with the likes of Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White. And then in terms of his run type, it will be set to overlap, so he will, like I say, look to try and add a bit more width on this right-hand side for Saka, but more times than not, Saka will look to add the width himself. And then in terms of his defensive position, it is set to stick to position. Moving on into the midfield though, we've got Declan Rice here set to cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking. Normal interceptions are set to be on, stick to position and then cover the wing. So he will look to sometimes slot into either fullback area when they are out of position to try and cover for them. But one of the most underrated features that Declan Rice does have is his ability to keep things nice and simple. So he's going to protect the back line, he's going to take the ball off of the back line at times and pass it forward. But when he is intercepting those passes, he will look to more or less play a quick 5-yard pass and just keep things nice and simple and composed at the back. In terms of Havertz, moving slightly forward, he is set to get forward, get into the box. Normal interceptions are set to be on, cover the wing and then stick to position. You want him to make those forward runs into that attacking area for those potential crosses that get whipped in. You'll see with the likes of Martinelli, Jesus and Saka, they will more or less try and make room for the attacking midfielder to run into that area for them. And then Martin Odegaard, the other number 8 in the team, he's said to have a balanced attack, so he'll be more of the box-to-box player in this situation, not essentially getting forward all the time. He will sometimes look to drop back, help the likes of Rice in the build-up play as well. And then in terms of his support on crosses, he is said to stay on the edge of the box. You do want him in and around that area, being the playmaker, the dictator of the pace of play at times, circulating the ball, waiting to find that killer pass, or even potentially taking a shot from outside the box himself. In terms of the interceptions, it is set to normal, and then in terms of the positioning freedom, it is set to free roam, because you do want him to pick up those little pockets of space. And what that essentially does is it opens up other little pockets of space for the likes of Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, or even Havertz to more or less function in. Moving into the forward line, we'll start off with Jesus and then drift out wide. But he is set to drift out wide for his support runs. You do want him to vacate that central role for the likes of Havertz to make those runs into the box. Like I say, these players more or less look to try and contribute and complement to each other's attributes. And in terms of his attacking runs, I've gone with a more of a mixed approach. You can have it to play as a false nine, but I think the mixed approach does get the best out of Jesus. You do sometimes want him making those runs in behind, as well as playing as a false nine. And then in terms of his interceptions, I've set it to normal, but a more realistic approach. If you're chasing a game, especially, and you want to try and press the life out of them, I would go with aggressive interceptions. But like I say, I've gone with the normal approach for that. And then in terms of his defensive support, I've set it to come back on defense, because more times than not, you do see Jesus dropping off, pulling out the two centre-backs, or at least one of the centre-backs, creating space in behind for either Martinelli or the likes of Bukayo Saka, or even the likes of Odegaard and Havertz to try and function in that space as well. And then out wide, they have got the same set of instructions. Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, as well as Trossard, will all have these instructions. Mikel Arteta, he likes deploying his wingers out wide, having them as touchline wingers, having them try and exploit the space in behind, which is why I've gone with this set of instructions for them. So Saka said to come back on defence, loves to help out the fullbacks on either side. Stay wide, you want them on the touchline, creating 1v1 situations with the opposition's fullback, trying to go left or right, whether you're looking to cross the ball and pop off a shot for yourself. That's what you are trying to get from your wingers. And then in terms of the support runs, you want them getting in behind. You want them to try and exploit the space that's left in behind between the goalkeeper and the defense at times. And then normal interceptions are set to be on. And then in terms of the support on crosses, you want it to be a bit more balanced, because if they are in the build-up play, you do need more bodies around the opponent's box. So your wingers will also look to try and be involved in the circulation of play and then potentially whipping in crosses. But they will sometimes look to make that back post run as well. So yes, my dudes, I hope you have enjoyed this video of Mikel Arteta's 4-3-3 formation in EAFC 24. I'm trying to replicate and recreate most teams' set of tactics in the game. So if you can, let me know down below who you would like me to do next. And if you can as well, while you're there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And as per always, I hope you have a damn great day. I'm out.